Hey, what's up? My name is Alessi Moon Cassell.
And I'm Anastasia Ellis.
This is Voices in the Back, and we're so excited to be partnering with MMC for the Minnesota Music Summit. We have two amazing artists today. The first one we're going to introduce to you is Milo, and we're so excited to welcome them. So let's check out.
Yeah.
Okay, my guy teaches there, and when he found out we were doing this, he was like, "Oh, that's dope, man! Yeah, Bobby's cool." So
Who do you know?
His name's Brian Dean. So he would Mr. Dean. He works with I think he kind of works with like I don't know if it's like a special needs students.
Yeah, I think I've heard his name.
Yeah.
I think I've heard his name. Yeah, my brother has Asperger's, so he was in the program a little bit. So I think that's where I know him from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, Edison is I like the school a lot. We've definitely been through it though in the last few years a little bit. But
yeah, can you speak on
nice
that?
Community. Yeah, so George Floyd's fiance or girlfriend, Miss Courtney. She was a teacher at Edison when I was there. Really nice lady, really sweet. And I'd see her at the coffee shop sometimes. And Dante also went to Edison at around the same time. Yeah, it's definitely, it can be a little overwhelming to think about. But the community is really tight knit and supportive of each other. So I take a lot of pride in like kind of being from that Northeast community, and there's a lot of good people.
Yeah, my guy Brian was saying that school community specifically, it just had a lot of loss recently. As you mentioned with George and Dante, and then I guess there were some other students who had recently passed. And so he was just talking about the community response and how they were like just doing amazing stuff, like where students coming together to pay tribute, and it just sounded like a really beautiful thing.
Yeah, I think I'm just trying to think about like what I can do, and just like trying to amplify the right voices and like trying to bring like just like good warm vibes to this community, and like trying to like represent them to the broader community in our state and like the country and stuff. So yeah, I don't know, it's crazy. I'm still kind of processing everything that's been going on a little bit.
Yeah. Just to kind of go back in order here, would you mind just kind of introducing yourself? Just kind of say like what you do, like where you call home.
Yeah. Are we starting already?
Oh,
We've been starting. We've been going.
We're in it. Already going into it. Sorry, I was.
So, are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, I'm Bob, or Bobby. I'm originally from the Democratic Republic of Congo, and I moved to America in 2009. I was 8 years old. Back home, my dad was a journalist, and he did some work with like PBS and like the European Union, and they kind of were uncovering some corruption in an election that was going on in the Congo around like 2006, and the government was not about it. So he came to the U.S. and he was only supposed to be here for a little bit, but he declared asylum because he took the opportunity. You're in America and you want a better life for your family. So if you're here, you're gonna try to stay. So then 3 years went by of like trying to figure out like asylum stuff and like lawyers. The process for moving to America is insane. So we joined him in 2009, and I've been here ever since. I call Minneapolis home now, but Congo is also home.
Do you imagine you'll return there eventually?
Yeah. I'm trying to go back as soon as I can. There's still like immigration stuff to figure out, and a pandemic and all that.
For sure.
But I'm hoping that I can play shows there one day. I think that's one of my biggest goals, is to be able to go back home and like bring musicians here that I fuck with, and like, I don't know if I can swear as that.
Yeah, you absolutely can.
Just like,
I mean,
think
there is a swear jar, but like, you're good. You're good.
All right. Well, I'll Venmo after or something. I want to bring musicians back home and like kind of do like a cultural exchange thing. That's like a big goal of mine that I've been thinking about a little bit.
Oh. What are your origins as an artist? Like, you know, how did you get started making music? What was some of the music you heard coming up?
Yeah, so my parents kind of got closer together and like knowing each other through college and like being in church. They're both in the choir. So like when my mom was like, when she was pregnant with me, I was like, she was still going to church every week. She's an amazing singer. Both my parents like love music. So like my entire life I've been like at church like every Sunday in the choir and around musicians. And I just I think that's just like where that love came from, just like being a really small kid and that just being like one of my first experiences as a human. Other than that, I don't know, I was a theater kid when I moved to America. And that was a good time. I kind of stopped though. I don't know.
What shows did you do?
So the first show I did was You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown in 6th grade. And I got the part of Linus, which was ironic because when I was younger, I used to suck my thumb, so it felt fitting. And then I've done a couple. I did a few in high school. I did Urinetown, and I played this. My biggest flex is that I played The Wiz in The Wiz.
Ooh, nice.
All right.
Nice. You gotta keep that at the top of your resume, you know.
But yeah, I like to drop that.
You might have seen me in The Wiz. That's amazing.
We did the Wizard of Oz in my school, and I played the Witch. So.
Oh, that's a fun role. That's a fun role.
They had me in like a bunch of green makeup and everything. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
I had these thick eyebrows for The Wiz.
Oh, yep.
Which is quite the look. Yeah. No, the makeup and styling for that show is incredible.
I'm always so surprised with like how like just like theater makeup in general is just insane. It can get very insane.
Yeah, and you have to do it and take it off every night too.
That's the part
process.
You know? Like I like makeup, but I don't like it that much.
Did you do a lot of shows?
I did a few. I did mostly in high school, and then I did a show in college. We did Aida, and I was the understudy for the lead.
Okay.
That was fun. Yeah.
I'm not super familiar with Aida. I like the name though.
That one's like it's a forbidden love story. Like Indian princess falls in love with Egyptian prince, and yeah.
Nice. Romeo and Juliet vibes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. They even die at the end.
Spoiler. I was gonna watch that tonight.
Oh really? Oh, well.
I had tickets.
Here's the DVD of your show specifically. From your parents.
All right, so you were talking a little bit about your parents, and it kind of goes into the next question. I was watching your video for your song Winona, and your parents filmed that. I know you talked a little bit about like how your parents, like, you know, you went to church and sang, and that's how they influenced like you artistically, but like your personality. Like, tell me a little bit more about your parents and how they influenced you.
Yeah, they're like super, super kind people, super warm and loving. And my dad is he shoots weddings and just like kind of like freelance photography. So we have equipment at home, which I've been very, very fortunate to have. Not a lot of African kids have parents who are chill to just like let them go crazy on some art shit. So I feel very, very fortunate to have parents like that. My dad's, like I said, he was a journalist, so we have the equipment. Super talented. My mom has vision. I don't know. I feel very, very fortunate. You know, the power that like parents can have like to make you feel motivated and believe in yourself is a big thing. Yeah, we just spent like a whole day going around town. I had like found these locations with my friends for the video, and I was trying to explain the concept to them. And you can kind of have like a disconnect a little bit with your parents just because like the taste is different. It was a whole thing to like try to get my dad to be on board with the 4:3 aspect ratio instead of like the full.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, just like little stuff like that is like where
It's
you
like,
can.
no, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, stuff like that where you can clash, but you know I'm just lucky to have them just be so supportive of what I want to do.
I love that. I love that. Also, since you were talking about like the meaning of the song, what is the meaning of Winona?
Yeah, so it's kind of weird because like sometimes you don't really know the meaning of a song till it's done. And I feel like there's like different ways to kind of interpret it. So it's up to, you know, whoever. But for me, it's kind of like, it feels like a very like pure expression of like wanting to kind of like seeing things in like a romantic way. Like, what's the saying with the rose
tinted glasses?
Yeah. It's kind of like just like kind of like leaning into like that like naive like way of kind of like seeing things. And it's also a little bit about just like how I feel like I kind of coast through life sometimes, or I felt like I've coasted through life in the past. And you tend to make mistakes when that happens. So the song is kind of about like, trying to fix that.
I like that a lot.
Thank you.
So I know we were already talking about this a little bit too, but going back to talking about the Derek Chauvin verdict that came out a couple weeks ago, and then during the trial, Dante Wright being killed in Brooklyn Center.
Yeah.
I just want to know what are your feelings like about this situation that us BIPOC people are put in, and then also what are your feelings towards how people are reacting to it, especially in Minnesota?
Yeah, I think it's I just hope that people don't think. I'm just worried about people tuning out a little bit and just like seeing this thing, which is like a small step in a much bigger, you know, journey that we're on a little bit here. I feel I'm a little bit worried about people tuning out and like this whole thing kind of being seen as a trend. It's sad that like this is the first time that a white police officer who kills like an innocent Black person is held accountable. And it's important to remember that, you know, there's more cops to hold accountable in this case specifically, and in many, many other cases that we never hear about because they're not filmed. So I would like to live in a world where I feel comfortable when my brothers go out, you know, with their friends. So we have a long, long way to go, and it's important that people just like keep that in mind.
Mm.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Like the battle, the fight, the journey is still going, and we've got a way to go. Like
it's good to like take in, like when you have small victories, it's good to like take a moment and like, you know, really like live in that. But I think we have to like use that as even more motivation to like keep pushing harder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's kind of a little pivot, but I was thinking about when I first heard your music. It struck me as kind of instantly familiar, like I already knew it somehow, but then also completely unique. And I was just wondering, like, it sounds like a blend of so many different styles and genres, and like how intentional was that? Is that just like a byproduct of like your artistic process, or were you kind of like, no, I'm gonna put a bunch of sounds in a blender and just stir it up and see what happens,
I think it's just from the different music I've heard growing up, and it just like I don't know how to describe like what I look for in songs, but there's just like a certain vibe that I get from things that like really hits home for me, and I just like to take that and emphasize that from like different places that I find it. I feel like lately I've been feeling more intentional about like what I want things to sound like, or at least it feels clear to me that I'm like blending Congolese influences with American influences. But that's just where I am right now. But I think that's probably the best way I can describe what I've been up to.
Sure. Just thinking about, we're kind of we are wherever we're at with this, like with the pandemic, and like, some venues are starting to open up and at least offer outdoor things. As an artist, like, what does that mean for you? Like, do you have shows coming up? Are you looking forward to that? Are you, how are you feeling about that?
So just today, Friday, when we're recording this, we announced we're going to be opening for Beach Bunny on their U.S. tour in the fall, which is going to be.
Congratulations!
Thank you. It's surreal. Like I don't know till we're there. Like we've only ever done like short weekender shows, like playing a show in Wisconsin and then in Chicago, and then we're back home. This is going to be 6 weeks of like seeing the country with this insane band that's just going crazy right now. So it's such an amazing opportunity. And I'm just excited to meet people. And I think everyone in general has been lacking on I think we all just like miss shows. Like I feel like a lot of people's shows were like a therapeutic experience. It's always nice to have something to look forward to. And I spent like all of 2019 and the first little bit of 2020 at like a house show every week. So it was definitely like built into my schedule as a person. So I'm excited to get back to that life.
So wait, is that gonna be like your first like bigger tour?
Yeah. It's kind of a jump from
short. It's amazing.
Because what it is like, your song Winona like really like started getting really big because it's got like what 2 million streams on Spotify.
Yeah, around there.
More than that right now. Yeah, like I looked it up. I'm like, oh, like this dude is real. He's blowing up. What's going on over here?
Oh no. It's wild. Especially like during a pandemic. I don't know. I just feel very fortunate. It's something that I've been like thinking about and like working on since like middle school. So, it feels good to accomplish certain things, and I'm just excited to be able to keep doing it. Hopefully people keep fucking with it. If not, I'll keep fucking with it. So
nice. So much. Just lastly, is there anything that you would like to plug? Anything else that you'd like to plug besides?
I should have thought ahead. No, just it's important that people are taking care of their body. This is honestly, for me, I'm talking to myself. I'm just reminding everybody, like, you know, drink water, get sleep. The world can be very cruel, so, you know, help your body as much as you can.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much
for having me.
It's great to meet you, Bobby, and good luck with everything. And yeah, I'm excited to peep your show for the summit this weekend. So
thank you so much for inviting me. Good to meet you guys.
It was great talking to you.
Yeah, it felt good.
So, all right. Well, peace.
All right. Peace. Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Thank you so much once again, Milo. And now we're going to get into Maida's performance, introducing Maida.
You know flames when you have seen water. You know peace when you have seen war. You know lion when you've seen the tiger. You know woman when you've seen a little girl. Well, pretty little baby needs a new pacifier. He's been sucking on those cigarettes to make his eyes feel more tired. I know we were meant to be apart, but I know there's got to be a way to your heart. I put two hands up, 'cause I mean what I say. I put two hands up, 'cause I was born this way. I put two hands up to the sun. I put two hands up for the little ones, all the little ones, yeah. All the little ones, yeah. Just because I'm older does not mean that I'm smarter. Just because I'm not a soldier doesn't mean I don't wear nice armor. And even though I don't worship, does it mean I'm not believing? Even though I can't sleep, it doesn't mean I'm not dreaming. I put two hands up, 'cause I mean what I say. I put two hands up, 'cause I was born this way. I put two hands up to the sun. I put two hands up for the little ones, all the little ones, yeah, yeah, yeah. All the little ones. You can try to twist up my mind. You can try to make me believe, but the only person who can make me feel something so truly free is the little one in me. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Rewind 22 years. I was living in Stevens Court, money was tight, my little Amanda was 2 years old and just beginning to realize the concept of things. "Can I have that?" she'd say, pointing at the bike a child was riding through the park. "No," I'd say, "but you can ride on my shoulders."
your pants off so casually, and your wicked smile got me on my knees. Baby girl, you spread your wings so wide, right in front of me, as the tears filled my eyes. You're a dragonfly, dragonfly, dragging me so high. Dragonfly, dragonfly, dragging me so high. Dragonfly, dragonfly, dragging me so high.
Thank you so much, Maida, for coming on and being with us on VITB on this Minnesota Music Summit. Let's just start it off. Let's get right into it. If you want to just introduce yourself, tell us who you are, what you do, where do you call home, all of that.
Well, I am Maida, and I am a musician / producer, artist, whatever. And I grew up in St. Paul, but I've always been back and forth between St. Paul and Minneapolis. So I'm basically from the Twin Cities, and I'd call that home.
Yeah, I feel that with like growing up in the cities, you kind of like just end up being in both.
Yeah. Well, actually, some people, like, if you live like the further away you live from like the border, the more it's like, oh my God, I don't feel like taking a plane to Minneapolis. And some people who've been in Minneapolis they think St. Paul is so far.
Well, yeah, because like when you have to, especially if you're trying to get like on the other side of everything, it's like a half hour away, and you're like, yeah, no, I'm good. Not in rush hour.
Yeah, which is understandable.
Yeah, some people take that so serious. Like back in the day with hip hop shows, it took a lot for like, I remember when there was Bon Appetit, the Headspin weekly series going on in Dinkytown, and like when the St. Paul heads would come over, they'd be like, I mean, I guess I'll come to Minneapolis. I'm like, it's like, yo, man, come on. It's too small a scene to really be like divided like that. But
yeah,
but it is what it is.
So Maida, when you were growing up, how did music play into your life as you were growing up, and how did you decide that you wanted to be a musician?
Well, I have been listening to music since I was in the crib, like a literal crib, not like a cool place. It had bars, so I'm pretty sure it was a crib. Yeah, my parents would play any kind of music, and whenever I heard it, I would just stand up and start moving, so I'm told. And then I was one of those like little girls whose mom made them play piano and wore the big dresses to do competitions. And so I guess that's when I realized I was a musician. And I mean, I did well in it. So it didn't. I mean, it was a positive thing for me, except for my mom forcing me to do certain things like rehearse and da da da. Da. But I think when I was introduced to like blues music, like real Delta old blues music from some relatives, that's when I was like, I connect with this. Like I need this in my life. I need to be letting. I mean, this is like the most comfortable way I feel that I can let out emotions and my thoughts, and so I think I've kind of figured that out right after I started piano, which was like, maybe before 10 sometime.
What do you think it
Awesome.
was? Oh, sorry, Anastasia. Yeah,
No,
go
you're
ahead.
good. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what do you think it was about the blues that like just hit you in a certain way? Like, how was it hitting you differently than what you were listening to before?
Well, I mean, whenever you're forced to do something you don't really want to do, you mean you're just not gonna vibe with it well. But when I heard the blues music, and this wasn't like bar famous days, din, 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 din. It was like Delta, Mississippi, like I'm in the
Yeah.
mud, I'm in the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Wife just left me, cheated on me. And so like that kind of feeling, that that blues note and that like cry in the voice and in the guitar too. I I mean, I felt that like beyond my body, like beyond. It was a feeling that I didn't have control over myself. It just happened. And so, and it was hard to control it. So at that point, I was like, I need to give myself up to this because I have no choice. I don't have any power in this. When I listen to blues music, I'm just totally taken by it. And I think growing up, I'm a Korean adoptee. And so growing up in white Minnesota was a little hard for me to grasp, and it was hard for me to understand, like, okay, I'm I was yanked out of my birth home and from my birth parents, not yanked, but it wasn't my choice, to come in a place where I'm trying live like environment of white people who are teaching me. They're letting me grow up and trying to figure out my identity. I'm sorry, I'm not being super articulate with
No,
this.
it's all good.
It was finding my identity and finding where I fit in. That was and still is, a journey. And so at a young age, when I don't understand why colors, I don't understand ethnicities, I don't understand race, I don't even understand community really, because when you're younger, you're taught who is in my tribe, who am I related to, who is on my team, who is going to support me, who's disciplining me, so I felt just a pull to blues music because it gave me freedom to be who I am and to be whatever I'm feeling,
Mm-hmm.
and it really it translated well to what I was feeling, that kind of question and struggle. And yeah.
I can totally relate with that, like, for sure. Like music is so powerful. Like I am always just getting like I always get surprised by music and how like it can make you feel so many emotions. It can put you in a certain place. So I get that. I wanted to ask you a little bit about your name, because I noticed that you play around with your name on like your website and your social media, and like that was the first thing I noticed, and I was like, oh, she's got jokes.
Well, I mean, my name has always been hard for people to pronounce when they see it. Like every every grade I was in, K through 12 and in college, and teachers say attendance and da da da. So when it would come to my name, they would always butcher it. Like Maida, Mayday, Madia. Like, they would they'd put
Oh,
in places that they felt appropriate. Not exactly where it is the way it's spelled, but so I mean, it was just like whatever. I don't want to make a big deal out of this. As long as I'm getting here and you put a check by my name, it's good. So, and I mean, my last name is Miller, which isn't Miller. It's not anything too interesting. So I don't know. I think comedy is a way, it's almost as powerful as music. Um, I mean, with blues music, it's definitely a way to let out angst or sadness or blah, blah, blah. But comedy is kind of a way to like soften your mood, soften your hurt. So it's kind of a different way to channel your emotions. And I totally respect all comedians, even if they suck. I mean, it's really hard. It takes a lot of balls to go up on stage by yourself and tell a story, tell jokes. And if people don't laugh, I mean, I don't know, man. That'd be hard for me to take. So
I would not be able to do anything like that. I'd just be like, why did the chicken cross the road? That would be my joke of the night.
Yeah, I would just run off stage or like hope that there was an ejection button to press. Get me out of there.
that's interesting. Just the piece about arranging your name or being mindful of how others are interpreting it. And I'll just go out on a limb and say mostly white folks, you're trying to get them to say it right. One of our volunteers and a former guest, Smelkin Ernesto, who's a Colombian adoptee, he also talked about the story, like the evolution of the name Smelkin that he gave himself. And it was really with the consideration of like, so people could say it right so that they wouldn't struggle with it, I think that is interesting, like how much, I guess just generally people of color kind of try to accommodate or make it a little bit easier for, folks around us to, say our names correctly. I was just curious about, you talk about kind of like the origins as a musician, playing piano. Fast forward a little bit when you think about yourself coming online, coming on the scene as like a performing artist, and like, what was that first experience like when you think about, were there parts of your identity that like were a barrier or a benefit to, hi, I'm Maida, I'm part of the scene now, I'm here to do shows. Like, what did that look like? What did that feel like?
I think I didn't know any little Asian girls who played guitar or wrote their own songs or, was into the scene really. I mean, I remember, my first kind of dip into like live music, like bands on stage or groups on stage was interesting because I was underage. So like if I got booked at a show, I would have to like wait outside and then play and then leave right away.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess that was sort of a struggle, like making those extra accommodations to be able to perform music. And I don't know if I saw it as a struggle, but it was definitely like hurdles that I had to, you know, jump over, and it was like climbing a wall. Like, I'm not mad I have to climb a wall. What I have to do, you know, I have to be louder to be heard, to be noticed. I have to like jump up and down, not necessarily literally, but you know, with my looks. I have to use my Asianness or my differences to get people to actually hear my music and hear what I have to say. And I mean, a lot of people would say that's a struggle or a battle or a problem, but for me, it was like, all right, something, that's just what I need to do. I'll do what I need to do. I can't change who I am, so there's no way around it. I can't pretend to be a tall white guy who's rapping with their backpack. You know what I mean? Which is, those were the kinds of people that I ran with. Like, I was in the hip hop scene. I remember seeing you, Alexi, CMI Odd Jobs. I remember actually seeing you in New York City. I was there watching a band, and you were with, I don't think you were with Atmosphere. I think you were CMI. And like the guy that I was with, he knew you. And I was like, oh, cool. Yeah. So that's who I was, kind of like, I was scoping the scene, and I didn't see any Asian people. I didn't see any Asian women, you know. And I think around that time, that was like when, like, if you saw an Asian woman in like pop music, it was like music videos for rappers. And that wasn't even that common. So I knew that I was different.
I'm glad that like you were able to at least like use the like your differences and like who you are and stand out with just like who you are and your personality. Like, it shows so much, even just talking to you and like being on, like, looking at your social media. Like, you just do a really great job at being you. And yeah, like, do you do you have advice for people that are in similar situations as you growing up? Like, what would you say to somebody that, you know, like a little version of yourself, a younger version of yourself?
I would say, if you want people to hear you, and if you want to be noticed, and if you want to connect with people, you have to come from a place of honesty and genuineness. Like, you have to be yourself, because people can see right through that, especially on social media. I mean, even though social media, for example, you're only giving a certain side of you, you know, it'll still like show the more you do it. I mean, if you're fake, people are going to see it. So I think just you have to be yourself, or whatever you're doing has to come from a place that's you, that's truly you, you know, even if you are like a certain persona. I mean, you have to, like, you know, put yourself in that, and not, you can't fake it, because I mean, you're going to get tired.
When you were talking about kind of looking around the landscape and feeling like, you know, I didn't really see anyone else who looked like me doing what I was doing, did you feel some kind of pressure about like, oh man, so I'm like a representative, you know, like I'm like a leader in my own right, or a figurehead, or were you just able to be like, you know, nah, it is what it is? Like, how aware were you of like almost being, I mean, I guess on the negative end, like tokenized, or else, you know, being a symbol to some degree?
I think when I was starting out, I didn't think of myself as a symbol at all. I didn't think of myself as a representative of any community or culture. I was just like focusing on how different I was, and how am I gonna like be a part of this community or this, you know, music scene. You know, how am I going to convince people that I'm worth something? And then once I kind of got my foot in the door and I got a little more comfortable, and people, I think once I started getting interviewed and basically asked questions like this, I realized that I have the power, or I represent Korean adoptees, or I represent whoever connects with me, whether it be Korean or, Asian American or adopted or, you know, from Minnesota. I could be a voice or a perspective, at least, from any of those groups.
Hmm.
And that kind of put more pressure on me, but I think I looked at it as more of a positive thing, or like I said, it's just another hurdle. It's just another thing I need to conquer or figure out. So, and I run off of not negativity, but criticism and questions, and I'm better at working with that and moving than, like, unfortunately, positive reinforcement.
Yeah. You need that skepticism. Yeah. That's that chip on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Gotta get that good criticism that
Yeah.
gotta like be able to take in the things that you need to work on. You need to be able to hear those things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel you on that one.
Yeah, I think that might be like a POC thing, especially an Asian thing, where we're not, well, in the Asian cultures, not all of them, but at least like Korean, like, you don't show weakness, you don't show, you have to be human, you have to have humility, and you don't ask for help, you just go, because that'll be weak if you ask for help. So
yeah, I definitely can. Yeah, with like, I think that, like, especially with like women of color, like that's something that's really hard, like having to always be like that strong, like, I don't need any help, I can do this myself. I have to do it myself. Like, type of mentality, and it's, yeah, it can get really toxic.
yeah.
Is there something that you'd want to see change just about the music scene? We think about the Twin Cities. Is there anything that just jumps out as just like, yeah, whether and again, it doesn't have to be inherently negative, but just something that you'd just like to see maybe evolve or change shapes a little bit?
I have thought about that a lot. And I really wish that I could, if I had more, I had better plans or a better vision, but I think it would be nice to have, well, more Asians come up to the mic, figuratively and literally. Like, yeah, we've got, like, in St. Paul, there's a big Hmong community, and also in parts of Minneapolis, but I don't really see a whole lot of Asian rock bands or Asian hip hop bands who are, highlighted in City Pages, or I don't even know if City Pages exist anymore, but, written about, or like headlining, block parties or anything like that. I think we have so many different artists and creators and musicians and vocalists and whatever in this city. It's crazy. But if there was some sort of way to get people to, like, let their guard down and let their Minnesota freaking wall down, and be open to inviting, like, a Hmong band to come play at Pizza Luce block party, or like, I don't know, like indigenous, like have some of their groups come and be on that bill too, you know, and have people more open-minded and tolerant. And yeah, you don't have to like everybody, but I think it would be nice to have to us be on a like a page where we're open to whatever. And if you don't like it, that's fine. You know, we don't need to, you know, stay divided or not, or like stay in our own little corners. I would like to see different groups with, you know, the on the same bill. Rock the Garden. I mean, I know that's, you know, humongous, and they always get national people, international bands, groups, but it would be nice to see some other communities who represented in these, you know, these shows, these events. So something. I just
Mm-hmm.
and it would take somebody who's already well known in this city to be like, take a look at this, you know.
Yeah.
So, because I mean, in the restaurant scene here, we've got, you know, Yia Vang coming up, and like all these Asian women, you know, chefs that are, you know, becoming celebrities, and
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen that in the Twin Cities for music.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It'd be really nice to see that. And I know there are stars in the Hmong community. I know it.
Mhm.
It would just be a matter of getting them a part of the Twin Cities music scene. I mean, I don't know. And there are so many other groups that I'm sure I don't know about that have their own group, you know, gatherings and whatnot. And maybe they don't want to be a part of this music scene, but I think it would be cool to bring anybody who wants to. It would make our community stronger and more rich.
For sure.
So I don't know how we would do that, but like maybe an event where it's like food and music, and because food brings everybody music, everybody understands music. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, we'll talk after the show. We'll make it happen,
Okay. I'm down.
I got nothing
Yeah.
else to do, you know. I'm not busy at all, you know.
What you got? I'm
Want a party
so
on
happy.
Wednesdays?
What's that?
Said we'll have like a little block party at Alexi's.
Yeah,
Okay.
here we go.
Be there, and then I'm gonna show up and be like, and I'm gonna be like, let's do this. I've seen your daughter.
Oh yeah, she'll throw down for sure.
Bring it. I will. I'm not joking. Like I would seriously.
No, I think it would be. I mean, like that's the whole reason why like we started doing voices in the back is because we were just like, I mean, like I've only been in the music scene for, you know, like 4 or 5 years, and it took me until like honestly this pandemic for me to actually find like more people of color in the music scene and like get connected with them, which I find to be really funny. Like the year where like we're not like where everybody's closed off from each other is when I actually like find like a great community that like I've always wanted right here. And yeah, there needs to be more talk and more representation of people of color in this community, because yeah, otherwise like it feels like it's kind of hard to find unless they're like this big name like Lizzo, who's not even from here. You know, like but yeah. Oh, I wanted to ask you about you were talking about how you are Korean adoptee, and I saw on your website that you had a tour in Seoul and you met your birth parents. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
What was the experience like?
it was like it felt kind of like an organized tornado.
Hmm.
But
That's dope.
I booked a whole tour, like where I played every single day for 2 weeks in South Korea, and I don't know Korean, and I mean, I found people who are actually from Minnesota, Korean adoptees who lived in Seoul at the time, and they were like my guardian angels. I swear to God. And I also, so on YouTube, there was like a Reebok commercial that was played, and people saw that in Korea. They saw that, and then they checked me out, and they're like, "Did you know that Reebok has one of your songs, and it's like streaming on YouTube and also on like all TVs and media in and radio in South Korea?" And I was like, "What?" And so I met one of them, just a random person who messaged me, and she helped me get to from place to place and
Mm.
talk to, like, cab drivers and da 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 da. So I mean, you know how it is, Alexi, when you're on tour. You have places to be, sound checks,
Yeah.
and then, wait, and then play, and then stay up late, and then the next day you play. And then somehow I was like, I want to see if I can find my birth parents at the same time. It'd be like
Mm.
killing two birds with one stone.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I could just go on with the details of like even just trying to meet them, trying to get together. But one of my friends there helped me. And I mean, it was so emotional for me. I was in tour mode, like, okay, let's meet, say hi to my parents, and then I gotta be at the venue right after that. And I gotta find a way to the venue right after that. So a friend helped me go there, and she actually sat in the room with me with the translator and then my parents. And I walk in the room and I see them all sitting there, and my mom gets up and she's like this look, and like she walks over to me and looks at me with that face, and she like touches my arm, and she just starts saying things in Korean. And I was like, hi, like what I didn't know what she was saying. I
Mm.
didn't understand that face. Like, that's definitely not welcoming,
Mm.
hello, warm greeting. I was just kind of confused, and my mind was like, okay, maybe whatever she's saying is like making the face make more sense, but I don't understand it. And the whole thing was just emotional because they were crying and I started crying, and I didn't know what they were saying, and I didn't get like a smile from any of them.
Mm.
And they were like, hey, do you want to meet? You want to do something after this? And I was like, I do, but I have a gig to be at.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like this really heavy meeting right in the middle of the day, and then right after that I had to play. So, and I apparently found out that I had 6 older siblings and 1 younger brother, and the 6 older siblings were sisters, and I was a secret to everybody, to like all my sisters. So learning that was hard to digest, because I don't understand, one, how you can hide a kid from like your adult children.
Mm.
You kept the boy that was younger than me. So like, what was it about me that I
Mm.
couldn't stay,
Mm-hmm.
And so if you think about that, if that's running through your head, that's like not a I wonder. Anyways, it's like, holy,
No.
my God, this it felt like that was a story I was reading or a movie I was watching, you know but no, that's my life. That's me. Like me? Like, so I don't know. I didn't have time to really understand that, all that. And I didn't have enough like energy to process it because I did have to be at a gig.
Yeah, like having to jump right back into that, like that must.
I mean, everybody handles that kind of thing, like meeting their parents differently. And it took a lot of me saying to myself, okay, that happened. What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it? You know, what do you need to do about it? What is gonna be safe and healthy for you in order to move on, knowing this was a part of your history that has brought you to this point today, you know? So, I mean, it's like, and then, I mean, music, I listen to music and that helped me, just like it helped me when I was finding the blues music, you know? It helped me deal and massage the feelings that I was going through, you know? So, I mean, music definitely helped me get through that. And kind of shave the edges for me. To keep on going. So, I don't know. It was a lot.
Yeah, like, yeah, I don't even really know what to say too, because it's just like a crazy story that you wouldn't you wouldn't think like would actually happen, and then
Yeah. It still doesn't feel like real to me. It doesn't feel like my reality, even though it is, and it was, and it is.
when did that?
Huh?
How long ago was that?
That was like 3 or 4 years ago. I don't remember exactly. Maybe 2016, 2015.
Have you guys reconnected since?
No, because as far as I know, they're not interested in meeting again. I asked for a DNA test like right after I met them because I was like looking at them to see if like I looked like them at all. And I guess I did. I had a hard time seeing myself. So just to be sure, because sometimes like parents can make up stories or, you know, relatives, you know, that's unfortunately kind of common in being adopted. But, and I asked them for a DNA test and they're like, no, you don't, that's not necessary. And I was like, oh, okay.
Like, how are you supposed to, like, yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
What's your, if you don't mind me asking, what's your relationship like with your adopted parents?
It's pretty good. I mean, they're getting older now, so they've definitely changed and calmed down a little bit. But I mean, it's good. My mom has a lot of issues now that she's like a senior citizen. She's got Alzheimer's and dementia, I think, and Parkinson's. So I'm kind of dealing with that now. But I mean, we're okay. We're good. Like we get along, and you know, I love them, and I am lucky to be where I'm at.
Well, Maida, just want to ask, you know, do you have anything that you'd like to plug? I know you got a new song coming out. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? What's it about and everything?
I have a new album that I have been sitting on for so long, and I have it all like recorded, and right now I'm working on a lot of videos, like music videos, sort of episodic videos, um, to be released really soon. And it's kind of, all the songs are like, they're very inspired by the pandemic. They're very inspired by trying to find a way for everyone to be on the same page, trying to navigate through differences and negativity and positivity. So, and I mean, I always have to have some sort of lightness in my music because there is so much darkness right now. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be pop, like pop funk kind of stuff, but with soul. And I don't know, I'm really excited and interested to see what it comes about from it, and how people interpret it. And yeah.
You got a name for the album?
Not quite yet, but I do have I know that the first song is called the first single that I want to release is called Infected. And so, and that's sort of inspired by the Asian hate that happened, and you know, the Kung Flu virus, and blaming for the virus. And you know, I'm taking that concept and writing a song called Infected because we're not infected with a virus necessarily.
I mean, if you are searching for titles for any songs or album, you did drop Organized Tornado during this interview, so you might want to do something with that, you know?
Yeah. Hey, if you think it's a good,
that caught me right away.
Yeah. If you said it, I'm willing to come with it. I'm a Kill the fan. I'm not just like, I freaking love the Kill the Vultures and a lot of your work, Alexi. And
thank you.
I mean, I have to tell you this because I mean, we don't talk a lot. And so being able to talk with you in real time, I'm like, let's do it. So yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm a fan of your music too. And seriously, like whether it's a block party or just getting together sometime to just jam, you know, try some music, like I'm down for whatever. So just know that's a very real invitation, you know.
Okay.
I'll bring cookies.
Please, yeah. You're invited, of course, at the station.
I mean, literally, the more the better. So.
No, I think that would be awesome. Like, definitely. Well, yeah, I like just thank you once again for coming on. I was so happy that we got to interview you. I was so excited about this. So yeah, just thank you so much for wanting to be here.
Anytime.
Just wanting to say thank you so much again to Maida and Milo. Thank you so much. And thank you to MMC for hosting this beautiful, wonderful event and having us on. If you would like to check out more of Voices in the Back, you can check us out on our social media. It's Voices in the Back, @VoicesInTheBack. So go and check us out. Instagram, Twitter, all that jazz. We're on YouTube.
All of it.
All the streets. You better go check it out.
Thank you so much, though, for real. Thank you so much for the support, and enjoy the rest of the event.
Enjoy.
Peace.